Hi, this is Tony with Tony Tazza with Bowmasters, and today, as part of our Legends of Archery series, we're talking to legendary archer Derry Null, probably one of the most successful senior pro archers in the history of the senior pro class. Derry, what got you started in archery?
I can't remember when I wasn't interested in archery. Is when I was that big, we was making our own bows out of sticks and baling twine and anything that resembled an arrow. Mostly anything in the neighborhood was in pretty big danger. If it was 6 or 8 feet away, we was going to wing it.
But when you started competing, what did you compete with before you got into compounds?
Well, I started out, there wasn't compounds. When I started competing, the first compound I saw was in the early 70s, and we all had a monstrous laugh at it because things have come a long, long ways. I competed, I competed for 30 years with recurve and compound. I shot all of the traditional shoots of Friendship, Indiana. I won, well, a whole bunch of those. I don't even know the exact number. But at some point in time, I got to reading in the magazines about how people could make money shooting bows, and I was just getting pretty ribbons or shiny rocks. So that was when I went to the compound. And
you started out in semi-pro back in the 90s?
No, I started out in open sea.
Okay.
And then I spent 2 years in semi-pro.
Yeah, you and I shot together in semi-pro, 98, 99, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that time frame. Because I turned pro in 2000. I went to the senior pro class.
And there you had a lot of success when you got serious.
Oh yeah,
when you got serious about it.
I was blessed. And the reason being, I might be as stubborn as anyone you'd like to meet, and I just refused to lose. If someone outshot me, then I went home, and if I'd been practicing 6 hours a day, then I practiced 7. And if they beat me practicing 7, then I practiced 8.
Or 10 or 12.
Well, yeah, you've been there when I've done that too.
Derry and I go back a long ways. We competed for a long, long time together, and I've never seen an archer work as hard as Derry Null has through his years. So, and like when you got started, how did you get better? I mean, you obviously have a really good work ethic.
Yeah, I've
how did you get
blessed.
outside information?
I can remember the first shoot I read about it in a magazine was in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. That was the first shoot I ever went to.
That was a Cabela shoot.
That was a Cabela shoot, and I saw Larry Weir there, who had just won the IBO World 2 years in a row. I mean, I read about him in the magazines. He was, in my mind, he was larger than life. And I ran into him and told him I was going to be a pro someday. Well, he grinned, and I didn't understand that, pretty much every amateur tells the pros, I'm going to be a pro someday. Well, the man bought me a Coke. We walked over underneath the shelter, and we sat there for over an hour with him explaining to me what I needed to do to be an archer. And that left such an impression on me. I have tried so hard to pass that on anytime I have the opportunity. And I feel like I've been successful with that. I work, well, I won't say tirelessly, but I work pretty hard with the NASP kids.
Yeah, I know you've done that for several years now. With a lot of local kids.
Yeah, ever since it started. Matter of fact, one of the schools I walked into to work with the kids, I stepped into the hallway, looked up, and there's a life-size poster of me. I don't have a clue who did it, where it came from, but it was kind of startling because
it's a pretty big poster.
Well, yeah, and I thought I was prettier than that. That was kind of disappointing.
Right.
But I've got kids that have done really well at the local and state level. And one boy I've worked with, he's a junior in high school this year. He took second in Myrtle Beach. He was tied for first, had a shootout, and ended up in second in the World Championships.
That's awesome.
Well, and just good kids. I love to work with the kids. It brings out the good in kids. Even kids that don't know they have the good in there, it helps bring it out in them. They understand the discipline. They understand the self-control. And if they have issues, then I won't work with them that week. No. You got grounded.
Let them settle down and
Yep.
clear their mind.
Yep. When you're ready to learn, I'm ready to teach.
Right.
And I guess I'm a little on the strict side, but I think that's lacking in kids nowadays.
Right.
They don't understand respect.
Right.
And I love the kids to death.
With all your success in archery, I mean, you built a beautiful home and you've got a really good lifestyle. A lot of that back from your archery dominance.
Every penny of the home, and I don't mean this bragging, but every penny of our home, we paid for it when we built it, and archery paid for every penny of it. I had just a wonderful run.
Right. And obviously a lot of hard work, dedication, and sleepless nights. But if you were going to tell somebody getting into serious archery right now, what would you tell them to do to try to get to where you have been?
Oh, I'd tell them to watch you and try to be like Tony Taz.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't it.
No, that wasn't it.
I think the work ethic is the finest thing. If you're going to get into 3D archery, and you know this as well as I do, I don't make a pretense about it, I was never the best shot in the game. When guys were shooting that size group, I was shooting that size group. And I was shooting as well as I could shoot, so I thought, okay, what can I do to give me an edge? Well, what I did was work yardage harder than any human being on the planet. And there was a time that I would have bet you everything I owned that I could outjudge anybody that walked the earth. It's not that way anymore. I've had to learn to shoot, age is catching up a little. I've had to learn to shoot with glasses, and I'm having to learn to rejudge with glasses. The style of the bows has made such drastic changes from what I'm comfortable shooting. I'm having to relearn shooting a new shot. So there's a lot of changes going on. The equipment is just incredible as far as improving with age. Every year the companies, especially Matthews, every year the companies outdo themselves with coming out with new fancy
But today's
equipment.
bows need to be shot different than the bows we
Oh my
shot
God,
in the
yes,
90s.
yes,
You
yes.
had a valley, you had a wall to pull against.
The more nervous I get in a shoot down situation, the more aggressive I become. The harder I push and pull. You do that with a solid wall bow, and you wonder where your pin went because it goes nuts.
Yeah.
So I can't shoot the shot that
Lot
I've
more
shot for all
finesse
these years. Yeah, it's more
nowadays.
finesse.
Yeah.
So the muscle in the bow just isn't an option nowadays. But now we go back to the targets, and you probably remember the old Pottinger.
I don't.
Oh,
That
don't
was
you?
before my time.
Okay, it was styrofoam. It's about that thick, and it was cut out in the shape of an animal.
Right.
And you painted it or you put magic markers on it. And the first competitions I won was on Pottinger targets. You had a 10 ring, which is the size of the 8 ring now, and then the rest of it was a 5. And that was the only thing you shot. Mackenzie came out with the targets and just revolutionized everything. I can remember the first Mackenzie target I saw. We stood there with our mouths hanging open thinking, oh my Lord, this is incredible. Now you look at it and
You take it for granted.
yeah, it's just
now.
another target,
Yeah.
but it's pretty special to us. So I enjoyed the seeing the transition that archery has went through. It's come so far. I'm glad that I'm a part of it. And probably, if I had to say, I've had several memorable wins. I mean, I've had a very successful career. But the thing that I value the most out of the entire thing is people like you, the friends that I have made that I wouldn't have had any. And I know my career's coming to an end, and at some point in time I got to say enough, and I get teary-eyed just thinking about the people that I'm not going to see.
And just thinking about your life without
without
these
archery.
tournaments.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I come here, I'm laughing, I'm joking, I'm smiling.
Right.
Even the days I shoot bad, I'm going away still laughing, joking, and smiling, and having a good time. Because I think these are some of the finest people in the world that I've ever met.
And I've never talked to anybody in archery that didn't have phenomenal things to say about Derry Null. So,
Well, that's scary.
well, I had to pay some of them.
Well, I think, they had to be fibbing.
So,
But well, we've had our good days, and now I've backed off a little bit, and you're kind of leading the charge
Well,
now.
see, next year there'll be a new batch. And,
Oh yeah, they never quit coming.
yeah.
It's like what's the song about? Every year the broncs get tougher to ride. I'm trying to think what that is, but that's kind of how I feel.
Right.
But I'm 67 years old.
Not as
this
good
month.
as I once was. Huh?
No, I don't think I'm even as good once.
Toby Keith's song.
Yeah,
So,
but I guess I still want to be a winner. Don't give it up.
right. Well, it was definitely an honor and a privilege to talk to you today.
Well, thank you,
And
Tony.
I'm glad you let your life story out there for everybody.
Well, I didn't let it all out.
Okay, we'll leave some behind.